Today on The Real Story, we're prepping you for the primaries. September 12th, across Connecticut, polls will be open, but how secure are elections? And can you be sure your vote really counts? And how does the state hold campaigns accountable? We're getting an inside look at it all with insight from Connecticut's election enforcer. And from voter fraud to voting in the first place, we're talking about why local politics and a primary really matter. The leader of Connecticut's Conference of Municipalities helps us break that down, where we stand as a state right now and what new leaders will need to bring to the table, from engaging voters to getting people to run. That's all ahead on The Real Story. Good morning, and thanks for joining us on The Real Story. I'm Samaya Hernandez, sitting in for Emma Wolforst. Americans' confidence in election security and the democratic process has been on the decline. So how is Connecticut building trust and ensuring your vote counts? Well, joining me is Michael Brandi, Executive Director of the State Election Enforcement Commission. Thank you for being here with us, Mike. Can you break down for us what your department does? You're a state agency that I'm sure not a lot of people are familiar with, but you have a big job. Talk to us about that.
Sure. The State Elections Enforcement Commission is the state agency that is empowered to investigate any elections complaints, and we investigate claims all over the state of Connecticut. We're also responsible for disclosure of campaign finance filings, and we have administrative duty over those types of filings. But we're the agency you call if you have any questions regarding security or questions at the polls.
And when it comes to local candidates and eventually elected officials, let's talk about how important it is to make their campaign finances and donations transparent. That is something that we've been hearing people talk a lot about. Tell us why it's important for people to be paying attention to that.
Well, we think it's always important. Transparency and openness are what we as a watchdog agency are all about. So our process is we want to make sure that the public has confidence in the electoral system. We want to make sure that the citizens of Connecticut know that when they cast their vote will count, and that there are agencies like ours that are staffed and available to help the public and make sure that you have confidence in the electoral system. And as for campaign finance, we always want to make sure that the public understands and knows where their donations are going. Contributions being made to local candidates need to be disclosed, and the public has a right to know where their money is going and how it's being spent.
And Mike, you've told us in the past that your office is hurting with budget cuts, and now Secretary Thomas is continuing that call for funding for updated poll technology and training. That's what she told us when she appeared on the show. She said that these are all examples of Connecticut being overdue for serious elections investments. Do you agree with that?
I do. I think Secretary Thomas is talking about new tabulators and the effort to modernize Connecticut's voting systems. But I think it's important to note that our tabulators and our systems work very, very well. We have a system in Connecticut of paper ballots. We have lots of checks and balances within our system. And we have agencies like the State Election Enforcement Commission who are on standby to assist with any issues that might come on Election Day.
And Mike, there is something rampant disinformation. We don't want to talk about it, but we know it is a thing. And there's a new probe recommended into possible voter fraud in Bridgeport, and a former president now in court for being accused of trying to overturn election results. So there's a lot of election security doubt right now. Should voters trust Connecticut's election process?
Absolutely. We have a very secure process. Remember, your elections are run by your local registrars and town clerks. We have 169 cities and towns that have very dedicated elections officials, and we should all be very confident that they know how to run elections, they know how to do their jobs, and that there's assistance both from the Secretary of State's office as well as our office. We're available at all times to assist them and to assist the public in general with any concerns they may have. But I think the Connecticut electorate needs to know that their election systems are very secure and that we are monitoring everything on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think they do really want to know that. Now, obviously, with an increase in absentee ballot use, people are wondering if these are truly secure. Legislators are calling for a crackdown where others want to expand. So talk to me about absentee ballots, and do you agree with there needing to be more oversight when it comes to absentee ballots?
I think we have a very secure system when it comes to absentee ballots. I can tell you from our perspective as the enforcement agency for the state of Connecticut, we have had a number of cases that have dealt with absentee ballot infractions, and we deal with them, in every election cycle. But we catch them, and that I think is the important fact here is that we have a lot of elections officials who are our eyes and ears, and the public in general, to report to us any type of impropriety that they see at a polling place or through the absentee ballot process, and we will investigate and we will enforce against any people who violate the law.
And even if it's anecdotal, about how many folks reached out to you, say, after the most recent election, how many calls does your office receive?
So valid complaints that we receive on a yearly basis is probably about 150 complaints a year. On election day itself, we do receive hundreds of phone calls. And some are very basic phone calls with people looking to find out, where their polling place is and where they should go and vote, and others who are reporting to us what they perceive as improprieties in voting processes. We take every call seriously. We take every inquiry seriously, and we make sure that everything is followed up by our investigators and our attorneys.
And Mike, people do have rights as voters in an election. Tell me a little bit about what their rights are and talk about the election hotline and what you would like for our viewers to know about it.
Sure. So on every primary day and on every election day, the State Election Enforcement Commission, along with the Secretary of State's office, operates a hotline to make sure that we are accessible to the public for anything that they see at a polling place. So we will have published our phone number and an email address, and any member of the public who senses that there's something wrong at a polling place or in a process, we have staff available, investigators, elections officers, and attorneys who are staffing the hotline from 6 in the morning till 8 at night, and we will be there to assist in any way possible.
Mike Brandi with the State Elections Enforcement Commission. Thank you so much for taking time today to talk to us about these important issues. We hope this will help get more people to the polls next week. Mike, thanks.
I hope so too. Thank you very much.
Still more to come on The Real Story as we race towards the primary Tuesday. We're breaking down those races, why you should be paying attention, and how to make your voting plan, and what's at stake across the state. Joe DeLong from the Conference of Municipalities joins us next to talk about engaging voters and candidates in Connecticut. Stay with us.